So where do we begin? Where do we even begin to examine Game 3 for the New York Yankees of the division series? We're going to look at three different takeaways that I had from the game. But when you look at what this game was, there was an absolute mismanagement of the highest proportions. And it was mismanagement from the front office and from the coaching staff. But the simple fact is that the Yankee season is teetering right now on the absolute edge of oblivion. And we've already seen it. Arguably one of the greatest teams that ever played the game, the 2022 Los Angeles Dodgers, were defeated and eliminated from postseason contention by the San Diego Padres. The Philadelphia Phillies knocked off the defending world champion Atlanta Braves. Two teams that received the bye because they were during the regular season significantly better teams. Teams that won over 100 games each, defeated by teams that won 80 plus games, 85 plus games each. So the Yankees are not in unfamiliar territory here. The only top-seeded team to have done what was expected of them was the Houston Astros, who also advanced to the championship series and are awaiting the winners of either the Yankees or the Cleveland Guardians. So let's start looking at my three takeaways from game number 3. The first takeaway is bullpen mismanagement. Now, this has been an ongoing issue for a very long time. I have said it essentially every year since 2019. I have clamored for it after every single postseason over the same time frame. This New York Yankees team wins in spite of their manager, Aaron Boone, not because of him. Now, do I think that it is all Boone's fault? No. Because the front office runs Aaron Boone. He has been and will continue to be the puppet for the front office. But after last night's game, when you bring in Clark Schmidt, and nothing against Clark, because I think that he can be a very good pitcher in the major leagues. But the simple fact is that he is on the bottom half of the totem pole when it comes to your high leverage relievers. You didn't want to start Clark Schmidt in the 10th inning of game 2. You gave that to Jameson Taillon. And when he couldn't get it out, then you brought in Clark Schmidt when it was already too little too late. The idea, the simple fact that you wouldn't just use Clay Holmes, yes, who has struggled mightily in the second half, no doubt. But he looked fine in game 2. You wouldn't use him unless it was an emergency situation. I would think that the pivotal game 3 in a best of 5 game set, when you're tied 1-1, would count as an emergency situation. And the thing is that maybe it was a front office decision that wouldn't let Boone use Clay Holmes back-to-back days without having proven that he could do it. Well, the simple fact is that this is the postseason. There is no tomorrow, because losing game 3 in a best of 5 almost assures you're going home. And not necessarily going home to play game 5 where you can recover and recoup and get everything back to the way it's supposed to be. But it could very easily mean that you're going home tonight after Game 4. It is going to be absolutely raucous in Cleveland for the Guardians tonight. The Yankees are absolutely pressed up against the wall. And while they've been able to play well in that scenario before, we don't know how they're going to respond tonight. There have been reports that the clubhouse was absolutely dejected after that loss last night. And why shouldn't they be? Fans are as well. We're furious. We're disgusted with the way that this team has played these games. And that may sound really bold to say. But the simple fact is that when you go 0 for 7 and leave 11 runners on base in Game 2, you deserve to lose. In Game 3, you go 1 for 2 with runners in scoring position. When you only have 2 opportunities with runners in scoring position, there's a problem there. Especially given the fact that you only had, 5 hits? Let me see what this is. 5 hits, I believe. Yeah, 5 hits, 3 of which were home runs, a double by Cabrera. And the Guardians would have 15 hits, 6 runs. And when you look at the fact that the Guardians were 9 for 17 with runners in scoring position. 9 for 17. There's a big difference between 9 and 17 and 1 for 2. The Guardians would roll off 5 straight hits to put up 2 runs in the bottom of the ninth. The old adage of in the postseason that you can't string together hits was absolutely proven to be a fallacy. And there's no doubt about it that the mismanagement of the bullpen caused this. If you knew, as the manager of the New York Yankees, that you didn't have Clay Holmes as an opportunity to be able to pitch as an actual pitcher that you were going to use, why would you remove a guy like Wandy Peralta who was having success, not giving up any kind of hard hit contact? So what it was longer than anything that he's pitched this season? It does not matter, because your season is on the line every single night in the postseason. Every single play, every single pitch is so important. And if you don't win Game 3 to where you have the advantage going into Game 4 with your ace on the mound, to be able to put the foot to the throat of your opponent and be able to walk away victorious, giving yourself an opportunity to prepare for the absolute dogfight challenge that it will be to face off against the Houston Astros. But you didn't do that. Aaron Boone instead would choose to go to an unproven arm in the bullpen. There's no feel for the game coming from Aaron Boone. Second takeaway, and I've already touched on it, but the base hits versus home run or bust approach has really shown itself in this series to make the Guardians look like the better team. When you can string together base hits, you put pressure on the defense. And absolutely, the defense of the New York Yankees has faltered. And it starts with 3 simple letters: IKF. And while I've tried to not put a lot of grief on Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, because he's human, and to err is human. The simple fact is that at the most critical of times, we have a catcher playing shortstop. IKF, I know failure. And that's what we've seen from the New York Yankees. Offensively, defensively, bullpen-wise. And there's no excuse for it. At this point in the season, you do not look like a team that won 99 games. At this point in the season, you do not look like the team that played in the first half. You don't look like the team that played in September. You're looking like the decrepit team that played in August that couldn't hit their way out of a wet paper bag. The season is now on the brink. And that's my third point. The simple fact is the New York Yankees find themselves on the brink of going home and being eliminated. Now, this is not a knock on the Cleveland Guardians. They have shown themselves to be a very, very good team. While young and inexperienced, they are playing with house's money. There's no pressure on them right now because they're doing things that no one expected them to do. So when you put yourself in this position to be able to go against a 99-win team with a tremendous payroll as a very much of an underdog, a team that no one expected to be there, one of the youngest teams to ever reach the postseason by average age, and a lot of guys that don't have postseason experience on this roster, and one of the most legendary in-game strategists in Terry Francona. When you look at where this New York Yankees season is right now, and this is obviously being recorded Sunday morning before the very, very important and critical Game 4. But when you look at the way that this team is built, the way that this team is set up, there's a lot of questions that are going to have to be answered if the Yankees are unable to advance. The Yankees don't win tonight, they go home. And there's serious questions that have to be answered about Brian Cashman, Aaron Boone, and even more questions for our superstar and captain and Aaron Judge, and whether or not this is a team he can truly win with. We may be seeing the end of Aaron Judge as a New York Yankee. Because let me tell you right now, if this team loses to the Guardians, there's a very good possibility that Aaron Judge looks at this team as being incapable of getting past the necessary levels of the postseason to win a World Series. And he may very well be right in that thought process. Now, yes, obviously there's a lot to be upset about as a Yankee fan, watching the way that this has played out. But this isn't just this season. This is the last several seasons that have played out this way. So the simple fact is that the Yankee season is on the brink. It is do or die tonight for the New York Yankees, for their $324 million man in Garrett Cole. It is time to put up or shut up. So I want to hear from you guys. Let me know, Yankee fans, let me know what you're feeling right now. There's a lot of tension in the air, and there's a lot of questions that have to be answered. But I want to hear from you. Let me know your thoughts, your feelings down in the comments. Head over to Twitter, find me at banter_baseball, and we can keep the conversation rolling. It's going to be a very pivotal and important game for the New York Yankees. Their whole 2022 season, and potentially re-signing Aaron Judge is on the line tonight. So let me know your thoughts. I will catch you guys on the next video. Peace.